Hi, Jeremy Crow here. I just wanted to give my opinion on whether or not Freemasonry is a Luciferian secret society. First of all, I'll say that I am a Freemason. I was raised to the third degree of Master Mason. Now, I wanted to also mention that there are several Freemasonic orders. The biggest, most mainstream Freemasonic order is male only, and it stems from the United Grand Lodge of England. Members of that organization will not officially recognize any other Freemasons of any other Masonic order as regular. And that means that they cannot officially refer to them as Freemasons, because to call someone a Freemason means that you will let them visit your lodge and such. But they just keep within their own branch of affiliated lodges. Now, not all of those lodges use the same ritual. The mixed gender lodge that I joined was based off of the Grand Orient of France, and they used a Scottish Rite ritual for the first 3 degrees, and they also had some influence from the Theosophical Society. There were some very prominent members that added and tweaked a few things in the ritual to include more of an overt esoteric element. But for the most part, the vast majority of the ritual is identical to the types of rituals that are done in the Grand Lodge of England-based Freemasonic orders. I also was involved with the Ancient and Primitive Rite of Memphis Mizraim, which also was a mixed-gender Freemasonic order. They do have male-only and female-only lodges, but they also have mixed-gender lodges as well. So, now, I was raised Catholic, and in my teens I had a bit of a crisis of faith and started exploring a lot of other different religious traditions, and just kind of expanding my own understanding of what's out there in terms of how people embrace the spirit around the world. And I'm very happy about that I expanded my horizons in that way. And it was within the order of the Freemasonic order that I ultimately came to find a resonance with Lucifer. So for me, Freemasonry was Luciferian, and still is in a lot of ways. I find that there is a lot of the symbolism in Freemasonry is very appealing to Luciferians, and there are even symbolic references to Lucifer in my personal opinion. But, of course, as a Luciferian, that's what I'm going to see. So, I think my answer for whether or not Freemasonry is Luciferian or not is that for some it is, for others it clearly is not. For example, the rituals in Freemasonry are primarily based off of Old Testament Jewish scriptures, stories from the Bible, and also kind of like folklore surrounding some of those stories is involved in the symbolism of Freemasonry. So, the really cool thing about Freemasonry is that it is to you what you want out of it. So, for example, somebody who is, say, a Hermetic Kabbalist, who studies Kabbalah, the mysticism of Judaism, and also studies Hermeticism, and, say, Egyptian religion and philosophy, they're going to get a lot out of Freemasonry probably as well, but they may not see it as Luciferian. And I think that that's totally valid interpretation as well. I don't believe that Luciferianism is the only valid interpretation of the symbols. And that is what Freemasonry is intended to be. It's intended to be a place where people from all kinds of different faiths can kind of come together and share spirituality with one another in mutual tolerance. I know some Christians don't like that. They say, do not yoke yourself together with unbelievers, things like that. But you know, if you don't believe in religious tolerance, then you probably shouldn't be a Freemason. But if you do, then you may find it very valuable. Now, one thing I will say about Freemasonry is that it's primarily a right-hand path organization, I would say, or tradition. I would, because organization, there are several Freemasonic organizations, as I mentioned, but as a tradition, I believe that it does tend toward the right-hand path, although a lot of the symbolism in there can also be interpreted from a left-hand path perspective as well. It's just not the surface level interpretations tend toward the right-hand path, but definitely there's a lot of symbolism in there in terms of you know, building the temple not made with hands, eternal in the heavens, can be interpreted as a way of saying attaining the ascended immortal body, or something along those lines. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of other people have different opinions. Another thing that I bet you I'm going to get when people listen to this is they're going to say, well, you were a member of the mixed gender lodge, so you know, maybe they are Luciferian, but the mainstream male-only lodges are not. You know, of course they want to remove the stigma, because a lot of people are claiming it's Luciferian, they worship Lucifer. I've never once seen any overt reference to Lucifer in any of the rituals that I've participated in. Of course, like I said, I've only been to the 3rd level, and so I know there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, it's in the higher levels that they tell you. But I did actually ask some of the higher level members in the order that I was a member of if, you know, I kind of inquired about the Luciferian connection in, I didn't come right out and say that. I actually asked them about certain symbols that to me represented Lucifer and what they thought they were. And usually they didn't say Lucifer. And when I said, how about Lucifer? You know, I think it means Lucifer because of this and this and this and this. Sometimes they said, yeah, I think the same way. I just didn't want to, you know, freak people out. And so I don't say it publicly. But other people had no clue what I was talking about. And they're like, some of them actually were like, oh, that's a bit disturbing, actually. But I don't know. I think that you get out of it what you want to get out of it, and it just so happens that Luciferians can get something out of Freemasonry, and so there are Luciferians in Freemasonic orders, male-only Grand Lodge of England orders, mixed gender orders, Memphis Miserium, all kinds. There's Luciferians, but it's a minority. So if you'd like to discuss this, I'd definitely like to hear what you have to say. Thank you.